Now that we learned how to create some basic controls, we're now going to move on to create some complex controls by combining shape nodes together. Now in my scene, I have an arrow that is actually just constructed of snapping the CV curves to points on a plane, just like it did in the last podcast. In this case, I want to duplicate this. I want to have actually make this a three-dimensional object because you can see how it can disappear at different vantage points. So I'm going to hit Command D and duplicate this, and I'm going to rotate this other new shape around 90 degrees around the x-axis. So I get this kind of three-dimensional shape here. Okay? So the process of doing this is to make sure the transforms are frozen. So I go in here and I freeze my transforms, going to modify freeze transforms. I'm going to edit and delete history too. There we go. And I need to create a blank null group. So I'm going to deselect, hit Command G to create a blank null. Okay, so this is where we're going to send these two new shapes. Now, it's important to understand that these two are actually, when we're selecting on it, we're called transform nodes. Transform nodes are the translate, rotate, and scale, the position in 3D space. The shape node are the CVs and components underneath this. So what I need to do is reveal those. I can go to display and do shapes. You probably figure out really quickly that this clutters up my scene a lot in the outliner. So I normally turn this off right after I do this. So in this case, I'm going to select my first shape node, hold down Command, select my second shape node, and then finally select my transform, which is the parent. It's always children first and parent last when we're selecting. Now down at the bottom of the screen, I have my Mel window. I have my this is a little Mel code entry. If it's Python, just click on it again. And we're going to type the keyword parent. Oops, that shouldn't be caps. Like that. And we're going to say -R, actually -S, and then -R. -S stands for shape, and -R means relative. So we're going to parent the shape nodes together. So with that selection order, I just hit enter. And as you see, they're parented together. It doesn't matter where I select, it only selects one. So if I turn display and shapes off, you only see that null node. I still see them both in the history right here, but they're there. Now I'm going to create one more. I have this, by the way, we don't need these transforms anymore. I can get rid of those. Now I can actually reveal this shape. Now what I want to do for this is create a multi-directional icon tool. So this goes the same thing. I make sure I have them all frozen and delete history. I got a button for freeze transforms and delete history. I'm going to unselect and hit Command G. Now I do normally do this around the origin. That's not mean you can't have them around the origin, but you'll have to move the pivot point after the fact. So now I need to go to display and shape, and I need to select all the shape nodes of these guys in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you notice I'm not selecting the transforms, just the shapes. Then finally, the parent is the last thing. And I go down here and I type in parent -S -R, and I hit enter, and boom, let's turn off my shapes. And we got a single selection. Now we can do one more thing to modify these controls, and that's changing the color of the different shapes. So that being said, I'm going to go back in the shape node, the shape mode, and I'm going to go into this, and if I go in my attribute editor, it brings up the shape here, and I can go into my object display and then my draw overrides, and you see I can turn enabled on, and this is how when you actually create colors on layers, this is what it's really connecting into. And I can make this beginning middle part like yellow, like that. And then I can go around and I could say these ones are going to be maybe like blue, like that. Now you do have to do these one by one unless you code this, because it's just how the tool works. There you go. And so now I have a control icon that I can change the colors of, and they can position up so they can stick out a little bit more. So that's how we actually combine shapes. Like I say, again, make sure you turn off your shape feature on here. And that's how you combine shape nodes together.